Good evening. You're watching Fiji Today News. I'm Lavanir Ndiva. The Prime Minister, Commodore Barenge Bainimarama, recently spoke about the recent reforms in the country and its impacts to Fijians and, in particular, the economy. The head of government, when also pressed on the issue of international support, cited Fiji's recent developments into the international foray.
Fiji embarks on a number of reforms for the country, exposing us to developments and initiatives influenced by government. The Prime Minister, Commodore Barenge Bainimarama, spoke about the benefits of bringing about reforms in the country and the results brought about by those reforms.
The reform has also helped our economy. You will have heard yesterday that our reserve has been the strongest and the highest it's been for decades. In fact, it's never reached 1.6 billion for a long time. And yesterday I also signed a bond. We've now paid our debt of 150 US million. That's been outstanding.
Commodore Bainimarama said that the reforms bring about a purpose for Fiji before the 2014 general elections.
Hopefully the reforms will bring about a better Fiji by 2014 election. We're not doing it for the international community, we're doing it for the people of Fiji. We've learned from what has happened in the past, especially the coups of '87 and the coups of 2000. We've discovered that they're not good for us. Hopefully by the time we get to 2014, there'll be no more talks of coups because of the reforms that we've put in place, the development people have seen.
When pressed about international opinions on Fiji, the Prime Minister spoke at length about Fiji's international obligations and the establishment of various diplomatic missions.
The talks they had in New Zealand last week during the Pacific Island Forum, that was not very fair to us. Yeah, but we've gone past that. We've gone out to the international world. We've joined NAM. On my trip to New York, I'll be ending up in Brazil to commission our new embassy in Brazil. High Commission in South Africa last month. And of course in Indonesia early this year. Next year there'll be a couple more. So we're moving out from the Pacific. So we have our own things to do.
Responding to recent bus accidents on our roads and further minimizing the risks of injuries or death-related accidents, passengers on buses will receive emergency safety briefs beginning this Friday. Land Transport Authority Chief Executive Officer Naisa Tuinadeva said the brief must be made to passengers of all buses about to commence long voyages between towns and cities.
A directive will be issued to bus companies including Intercity Express, Pacific Transport and Sunbeam Limited, especially those with glass windows, obligating them to conduct emergency safety briefs before any trip. The emergency safety briefs basically covers instructions to passengers on using emergency exits available on the bus, ways in which they can assist passengers or the driver during an emergency and evacuation procedures. Mr. Tuinadeva says this is a proactive measure and the onus is also on bus companies to ensure the directive is strictly complied with and for passengers to take these lessons to heart.
We have decided because of some concern coming from members of the public and also from the authority on how we can put up preventive measures just to ensure that no more death, no one killed on any other kind of fire that might happen in the future.
The Land Transport Authority, National Fire Authority together with the Fiji Police Force will train public service vehicle drivers on emergency safety procedures.
We will move down to minibuses. It's important. So they just have to go through a procedure of announcing, the briefs and especially the points that they need to put across to passengers to understand in case of emergency.
This month alone has seen 2 bus accidents on our roads, claiming the life of 1 student in yesterday's bus accident in Taveuni.
Government, through the technical assistance from the International Monetary Fund, will carry out ways to review the process on the calculation of the country's gross domestic product. Permanent Secretary for Finance, Philemon Wangabala, said the IMF assistance will review the GDP calculation so that it accurately captures everything that is happening in the local economy.
As the Fiji market develops and changes and the structure of the economy changes, new sectors may have come into the market which may not be accurately captured and calculated in all the gross domestic product. This according to the Permanent Secretary for Finance, Philemoni Wangambada, who said that there is a general feeling that there is some underestimation in the calculation of Fiji's gross domestic product.
You will note that recently telecommunications has increased. Now, is that being fully captured in our GDP calculation? You will also note that mining has come up now. Now, is that also accurately captured in our calculation? So that's the exercise that Prime Minister is referring to. We've asked for technical assistance if they can look at how we calculate our gross domestic product.
The Permanent Secretary says the review is an ordinary exercise and ensures that relevant data is captured in the GDP calculation. According to Wangambada, while international economies have begun inputting relevant data for calculations, we need to do the same. The review, which started last month, will end this month.
Stay with us. Coming up after the break, sprint athlete Maurice Green speaks to Fiji Today News.